I don't know what it is yet, but we're going to talk about it, and it's going to be exciting. I think I'd like to talk about leaves. Do you like leaves? Are you one of those people who gets in their car on a weekend, go for a Sunday drive, looking at leaves? You know what I'm talking about. You're looking at the foliage. Why do you do that? What's so great about the foliage? You're old, most of you. Haven't you seen a leaf before? I love leaves. I like the leaves. I like seeing them in the distance on the horizon. And I can look out at my window and I can see across the lake and I see all these beautiful leaves. When you drive down the street, there's leaves, it's just, the colors are so beautiful. Well, there's another side of leaves, and that is they fall down. Yeah, they fall out of the tree. And then what happens? I have to figure out how to deal with them. Do you have to do that? Or do you have a groundskeeper because you live in elderly housing or a condo or something? I have to figure it out. And I'm going to have some clips in here of what my yard looks like so that you will know exactly what I'm talking about. I have a choice. I could go out there with the blower every single day. I have a really nice blower, and I really like to use it. My son, Dustin, you know Dustin, and his wife, Catherine, they bought me this fabulous blower. I mean, it's really nice. I like using it. It's probably the funnest tool that I have. Or do you call it a tool? Do you call it an appliance? What do you call it? A yard machine. I'll call it a yard machine. Anyway, they bought it for me because you know why? I left my old one out in the rain. And it didn't work anymore. I'm full of surprises. Looking at me, you would never think that I would do such a thing. But I've been trying to tell you what I'm like. And it's not good. It's not good. Anyway, so this blower is fabulous. I blew the leaves off a couple of days ago. And I'm going to show you the condition of the deck. Tub. Up there in the trees. And in my yard. You can't even see the dog poops very much. Can you believe it? That's a pretty picture. That's a real pretty picture. Okay. An inch of this yard. And you know what? It would look good for 1 minute. And then I would have to do it again the next day, and it would be the same level. It wouldn't be like the leaves went down a little bit or was less leaves. No, it's the same. And then it rained for 3 days, and it was torrential rain, so it knocked all the leaves off the trees. So the leaves are wet. So even if you try to blow them, they're wet, so they can't blow. So this is a problem for me. The sad thing about it is, if I get my yard all cleaned up for the fall cleaning, Now remember, I never finished the spring cleaning. I never finished the spring cleaning. I did do a few things. I planted some flowers in pots and stuff, and now I have to deal with that. And you know all those beautiful mums? All the blossoms are gone. They're like dead on the top. They're plenty watered. Don't tell me that. I think I'm gonna shave them like you would do a bush. Anyway, so even if I got all the leaves next spring, there they would be again. More leaves. It is a losing battle when you live in the woods with trees. And unfortunately, they're not all pine trees or cedar trees. They are deciduous trees. There's birch trees, there's maple trees, there's elm trees, and there's ash trees. I think we have a problem with an ash borer, and somebody was practically leveling their whole yard because it's a disease that's transmitted somehow. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't really care. I don't think I have any of those here, which is interesting. So, anyway, then I wanted to tell you, I'm not going to talk about leaves anymore. Oh, I know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Debbie Sue. You know, everybody knows Debbie Sue because I talk about her all the time. I don't know why I talk about her. Well, because I love her and I love her channel. And she's fantastic. Well, she did one of those fall things that you would do on a Sunday afternoon, go to a farm stand, you know, and they have all the pumpkins out and the apples and the hay bales, and she went through every single one, and they were beautiful. And I was wishing that I was there. But what's even more beautiful was the whole video. She did such an incredible job. It was professional level, honestly. I don't know if she did a voiceover. I kind of think she did, but I don't know how you do that anyway. So maybe she doesn't either, or maybe she does. But anyway, she had music playing. And she talked in her poetry, like her storytelling, and she was telling a story as she was walking around this, you know what I'm talking about, garden shed, farm stand. That's one of the things I used to like about when I was a visiting nurse, that between patients, if I drove by a farm stand, I would pull in and I'd have fun. The farm stands around here where I live, they're usually pretty small. But anyway, back to Debbie Sue. She went through everything, like I told you. Jams and jellies and all the different kinds of squash. I was going to do a squash soup for this Friday, but I already did the carrot soup, and I think that was a flop because it was so salty. So that's why I didn't choose to do a squash soup, but I'm sure it would be delicious. So I chose to do chili because that's kind of fall, autumny things. But you all know how to make chili anyway, so that was pretty easy. Yeah, so you should go over to her channel and just look at it. It's easy listening and easy looking, and just nice to take away, to go on a little trip. Somebody said in the comments the other day that they enjoyed looking at the telephone museum because, if you remember that video, because it gets them out of the house to someplace else. So she did a fabulous job. So then, what else? Oh, I went out last night voluntarily. I don't usually like to go out. I never like to go out at night. But my daughter, Erica, invited me to go out to dinner with her in-laws and her husband and her kids. So we went and we went to a Chinese restaurant that we really like. We go to it a lot. It's not like your typical Chinese restaurant. It's a little more upscale, and the meals are a little more upscale. So, and the prices are a little more upscale too. But I was delighted because I haven't really seen my daughter since probably my birthday, I think it was. So, I got to sit next to her. So, somewhere in this video, ideally it would be right now because I'm talking about the food, but I don't know if I'll be able to figure that out, so it might have to be on the end. I don't know, I'm sorry about that. Oh, I'm not supposed to say we're sorry either. So, what else happened to me today? My son Benjamin, I told you he's been sick. Well, he's getting tested for Lyme disease today. I don't know why they haven't tested him now. He's been sick for 2 years. Why didn't they do that before? Can somebody tell me that? It is like pulling teeth around here, and people have suggested going to the Mayo Clinic. Well, I don't think that he can because he's a veteran, and they have that VA insurance or something. So he'll probably have to go to some VA someplace. But they're hoping to get him into Boston if he doesn't have Lyme disease. I cannot believe that they didn't test him for that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We've been dealing with this for a while. So, back to Debbie Sue's thing. She showed us squash, acorn squash, butternut squash. Do you like squash? What's your favorite kind? This little patty pan squash. And then she took us to the apples. And now, of course, it might have been an apple orchard that she went to. I don't know. There were so many different varieties of apples. Now, the apples I know are Macintosh, Delicious, Golden Delicious, Gala, and Pink Lady. That's about my vocabulary with apples. But she was coming across all these different names. And I was wondering if they're different, what do you call them? Species? Bird? I mean, different, I don't know what you call them. I don't know. Anyway. My mind's gone blank. She was picking up the apples and showing them. Some of them were so beautiful. They had like yellow coming down around the apple and stuff. And then all the jams and jellies and everything. But I was intrigued by the apples because now is the time, of course, to buy apples to make apple pies. And those people who like apple sauce and apple butter, I don't like applesauce that much. I do like apple butter, though. So I'm sure you're thrilled to know that. Anyway. So I was browsing on my computer, and I read this interesting study. It was done at Mass General, and it was done over a 10-year period. And it was about the effects of walking. Now, Kentucky Life with Debbie said, thanks for all the hints about walking, but I won't be doing it. I said, I won't be either. But I want to tell you these statistics. 4,000 steps. I don't know how many steps that I take, but it's probably more like 40, not 4,000. I know a lot of people try to get up to 10,000. And some people have Fitbits. Faith has a Fitbit. Some have Apple Watches. Some they use their phones. Some people have, there's another app that you can use. I don't know what that is either. To count the steps that you use. And this study says you only have to do it 1 to 2 times a week, 4,000 steps. I think that's pretty good. It decreases the risk of heart disease. Well, that's a pretty good thing. It 27% decrease in cardiovascular issues. 26% mortality for those who didn't reach the benchmark. So it decreases your mortality. Is mortality death or is that living? I don't know. Look it up. So you have to identify a schedule. You have to figure out how you're going to get 4,000 steps twice a week. That shouldn't be too hard. At least one day a week or twice a week. They don't have to be together. And it doesn't really matter if it's 5 or 7 days. I think that's what I got out of this study. And it was done at Mass General, Brigham and Women's Hospital. Mass General. And then it's not how frequent you do it, it's the total volume of steps. It sounds kind of strange to me, but this was a legitimate study. Even small steps can achieve significant health benefits. So we got to figure out, you can even do steps while you're sitting. Ow, I can't lift up my hip. But there's those chair exercises that I told you about. That guy is really great. And the sitting yoga was, I don't know what it was. I can't remember. But try to exercise, try to walk. You can do it in-house. I could walk around that counter 100 times. This is illegal, but do you remember that Disney story, Little Black Sambo? Oh, I loved that. I can see the picture running around the tree. But we're not supposed to talk about that, so. I went to the hairdresser the other day. You know how I'm always talking about being frugal, watching how much money you spend. The rate went up. Do you know how much they charged for a haircut? $55. That's for a haircut. It used to be you could get your hair dyed, permed, and cut for like $30. Now it's $55. Now I know everybody doesn't charge $55. So now I have the dilemma. I really like the way she cuts my hair. I do get compliments on it. But $55. And then, when they print out the thing, the bill, do you want to give 15%, 20%, or do you want to do a custom bill? Tip. And of course you have to tip them. Of course. I mean, they're subscribers to this channel. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. I'd be interested in hearing how much you pay for a haircut, or if you cut your own hair. I know a lot of people that cut their own hair. I can't do it because I would not look very good. I can't. I think I have dyslexia or something because, I don't know, you see when I try to hold up pictures and whatever, I can't seem to do it. So, what else did I want to talk to you about? Oh, while I was having dinner with my daughter Erica, I said, Erica, is there any way I could convince you to do a video for Senior Insights? And she says, yeah, sure. What do you want it on? I said, well, you're a physical therapist and we're old people. Maybe you could teach us how to walk up and down the stairs safely or how to get off the ground. And she said, do you know how to get off the ground? I said, well, I don't know if it's the right way, but I eventually figured it out. I just thought it was funny the way she's a lot like me. She doesn't like to think that, but it's true. I see a lot of me in her. So then, when I got her settled down and committed, then her husband is sitting next to her, and I said, "Hey, Jim, could I interest you in doing a video for my YouTube channel?" And he said, "Sure, I can talk for a few." I said, "No, I'm not talking about talking for a few minutes. I'm talking like you give a seminar or a class on adaptive equipment or how to do." He's an occupational therapist. So he could give us hints on how to put our shirts on, how to keep our shoelaces tied. He could give us hints about how to take a shower safely or get into the tub, transfers and stuff. He said, "Okay, I'll do it." So now, I haven't got a commitment from Drew about, he's the policeman that I am going to have do a video on safety for seniors. Then I have Erica, physical therapy, and her husband, OT. I don't know if I should have them do it in one video, or if I should make them do it, a video each. That's another day. So let me know what you think. But what they did say is ask your community what they would like to know from a physical therapist or an occupational therapist. So I'm asking you to write in the comments any questions that you might have for a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, or a policeman about safety issues and scams and spams and all that stuff. Okay, so I'm going to remind you every single day so that we get some questions.
Call from 12078439449.
Talk about spam calls. That was one. And I was stupid enough to answer it. And then they hung up. They didn't like the sound of my voice or something. But anyway, I think that we have probably, each one of us, experienced some kind of little scam. You know, spam's in a can, but never mind. Share those with us because we can learn from them, but also ask some questions. Okay? I feel like I told you this. My mother was scammed with her computer. She used to play solitaire on her computer. All of a sudden, this big red screen is flashing. Do not turn off your computer. Do not turn off your computer. It's infected. Oh, she was scared out of her mind. She was 90 years old. She didn't know what to do, so she did what they told her to do, and she sent them $200. And guess what? They did help her. But don't fall for that. So that was one thing that I wanted to talk to you about. And you know, the other day I did a video on I quit. Well, obviously I didn't quit. But one of the things that I left out of it is I'm going to read you a poem, and then I'm going to let you go because I'm sure you're sick of me. The name of the poem is Don't Quit, and I'm curious to see if any of you know this because I remembered it. I asked AI if they could find it for me, and sure enough, there was a poem called Don't Quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you can't help but sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't quit. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you mustn't quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, and every one of us sometimes learns. And many a failure comes from the swing of the pendulum of doubt and fear. So hold your head high, grit your teeth, and stick to the end, and you'll win the breath. And though you have to face the pain of canceling debts and bills unpaid, and though the road may be long and drear, and though you have to give up many a things, dear, don't quit, for there's a chance to win. And though the going may be hard and long, you'll find a way where there's a will and strong. So don't give up, though the going gets rough and the path that you're on seems dark enough. For when things seem worst and you're feeling blue, it's just then that you need to see it through. And though you may feel like giving in, just remember that you can win. I love that. And that is really a powerful reminder to persevere, to take risks, go through life's challenges, go through those problems. Well, you've already done this. Why am I preaching to you? Because we've already done it. We're here. We survived the walking, talking miracles. I will see you at the board meeting. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me for a bit. Okay, disregard all the trash in my yard. Just notice all the beautiful leaves on the hot tub, up there in the trees. And in my yard. You can't even see the dog poops very much. Can you believe it? That's a pretty picture. That's a real pretty picture. Okay.